Hi guys, we are back with another video, and this video is going to be a little bit different than all my other videos. This is going to be a story time on how I got fired from my most recent job. Okay guys, welcome back to another video. Today's video is exposing the job I just got fired from like 2 days ago. And yes, I'm still mad about it because I got fired for something I didn't do. But we're gonna start from the very beginning. I started working at this job 4 years ago. I was like 16 when I started there. When I started there, the big boss that was over us is no longer the big boss that was over me now, because I don't work there anymore. So we're gonna call her Tiny because she's little. She's like 4'9", 4'10" on a good day. And also back then it was me, Tiny, and I got hired with one of my close friends to this day. We was trying to say was the people that this story is mainly about is still in the story to the day I get fired. We're gonna call her Hair because her hair is so long. Now we're gonna, oh, and then my cousin right there, we're just gonna call her Cousin because she's my cousin. And my cousin and me, we were, for 4 years, we were off and on from the job, which I would not be saying the name. Okay, so last year when I got into college around summertime, I asked Tiny if I could have my job back because I needed to save money for school and I needed to pay off tuition, and she said yes. And around that time I also asked her if I could be a manager still, and she was like yes. And at that time she told me that I would start off making $11, but once I become a full-blooded manager, then she would raise me up. She would give me a $2 raise after I learned everything. And I was like, okay, that sounds fair, I guess it's gonna have to do, because that's the only job I knew for like 2 years. And I did try other jobs, I just didn't like them. So, and the only reason I came back is because my cousin quit and came back. And then my other friend that works there, I'll use his real name. Out of respect, I did not use his real name. His name is Morning Manager. He quit and came back. And now I was like, yeah, I want to come back because I missed them. And I missed the job. I missed the environment. I just didn't really miss the people that came to buy from the store. Okay, but when I come back, there's other people. There's obviously new people there. My friend Hair is still there, and that's another reason I came back, because I missed her. But there's a new girl. Her name is Red. My cousin's cousin worked there. I'm gonna call her Cece, cousin's cousin. And then it was just a bunch of new people, and it was cool. Everything was good. Everything was fine. I was getting my manager privileges back. I was learning how to close the store again, because before I left, I knew how to close the store, but they had to reteach me certain stuff. And that's what I did. I was learning everything. And that's what was happening. But Tiny was still the GM at this time, and she was doing a lot of weird stuff. Like, she didn't really care about the store, and we all knew in the back of our head that she was going to end up losing the store eventually. And everybody was starting to say how bad of a GM she was, bad of an operating manager she was, and stuff like that. Even though she wasn't bad, but she wasn't good either. She had her times. But yeah, they were just talking about like she could do a lot better. And then our big boss got involved, and he basically gave her a 30-day trial, trying to get her back on track. If she didn't get the store better in 30 days, then like she was done and the store was going to somebody else. During that time, I was back in school. I was back at USC, and everybody knows that like I go from USC, and when I come home I go to work. Everybody knows that. But when the store got taken over by the new operating manager, that's when everything changed. And I was texting, I didn't even find out that Tiny was fired or demoted until my cousin told me, and she basically was like, yeah, Tiny is no longer the operating manager over our store. We have a new person. His name is Chandler. That's not his real name, but his name is Chandler. And I was like, okay, do I still have a job? And she was like, yeah, you still have a job there. You just, when you come home, you just need to talk to him. I was like, okay, I'll talk to him when I get home. But I wasn't coming home for another like few weeks. I think the first time at spring break, that was the next time I was coming, not spring break, fall break. That was the next time I was coming home. And then she was telling me how the store was doing a lot better, and I was like, that's good. And how everybody was listening, everybody, like, they have manager meetings. We didn't have manager meetings with Tiny. Everything was just a lot smoother with him. And then when I came home the first time, I was like, so do I still have a job with you? And he was like, yeah, we still need you. We still need, like, yeah, we still need you. We still need, like, your help and stuff like that. Just let me know when you come home, and I will always have a position for you. And I was like, okay. I worked those 4 days I was home. Everything was cool. And when I went back to school, I wasn't going to come home until December break. And I was texting him like the week before, 2 weeks before December break, Christmas break. I was like, yeah, I'll be home this so-and-so week, so can you make sure you put me on the schedule? He was like, okay, just remind me Wednesday of next week when you come home. And I said, okay. I texted him Wednesday, and he's like, okay. And then I get home Saturday, and like I don't see my name on the schedule at all. And I text him, I was like, so where am I out on the schedule? And I'll put the receipts up here. I was like, where am I out on the schedule? And he basically was like, oh yeah, I forgot. And FYI, you're not a manager anymore because of these reasons right here. And I'll keep the messages up here. If you want to read it, you can read it. I'm not. But you're not a manager anymore because of this. And I was like, okay, that's fine, I guess. And then he was like, but I'll give you a 50-cent raise. I was like, okay, that makes sense in my head. I'm out of town. I'm at school right now, so it'll make sense why I'm not going to be a manager, because you don't want me in and out your drawer. You don't. So then I go back to school, and then it gets closer and closer. And no, I come home one more time for a spring break, but everything's okay. Everything's fine. I'm home from spring break. I'm working, and then I go back to school, and then after the last 2 months of school, I come back home, and I'm like, I'm home for the rest of the summer. I basically tell him I'm home for the rest of the summer, and he's like, okay. And then I asked him, is there any way I could become a manager again? Because like I'm home for summer, and I'm going to be here for a while, so, and I already know you need managers, and I know the store. I've been here for 4 years, and I know everybody here. Yes, you hire new people, but I still got, like, I have my cousin, I have my Cece, I have Red. At this point in time, Hera doesn't work there anymore. Well, she works there, but she's taking a break because he started acting weird. Everybody was telling me how weird he started acting. Like, he would talk behind their backs but smile in their face. But I haven't seen it yet because, you know, I've been in school, so I really haven't noticed it. But she was telling me how everybody hours were getting cut, but the people that needed their hours cut were getting more hours. Like, we have one of our managers, we're gonna give her the name Thief because she was a thief. She used to steal out the drawer real bad and steal out of the workers' wallets. That's why nobody ever wanted her to count them down. But she got more hours than everybody else. And he knew the people that needed the hours, he was cutting their hours. Like my cousin, she had got a second job because of how much he cut her hours. But then he basically was like, your head need to be at the job, this job. It doesn't need to be anywhere else. You're my GM. So you're my co-GM, so your mind need to be here. And she basically was like, so give me more hours. Are you gonna give me more hours? And he was like, basically saying he's giving hours, as much hours as he can, because there's too many people on the schedule. But then when I officially come back, I start working. He gave me my privileges back. He basically is like, start coming to the manager meetings, start doing A, B, and C, and I'm gonna give you a $2 raise. So I'm now making $15. Still nothing. But he was like, yeah, you're a full-blooded manager now, so I'm gonna need you to step up. And I'm like, okay, I can do this, because I have managed the store before. And then my hours were from like 33 hours a week to at most 42 hours, at least 33 to at most 42 hours a week. And I was good with that. Everything was good. The meetings went fine. But then as the weeks start like going on and on throughout like my summer break of being home, I started seeing the weird stuff he would do. Like, he wouldn't schedule himself on Sunday, knowing Sunday was the most busiest days. And then he would complain about Sunday being like horrible, like our times being horrible on Sunday. And then he wouldn't work on Sunday. But then I was like, okay. And then we were trying to explain to him, like, come and work on Sunday and you will see how bad it is. He'd be like, no, I shouldn't have to work on Sunday. I shouldn't have to come to work to have the store go good. Y'all, I should be able to rely on y'all to have a shift go good. And we was like, we can have a shift go good, but Sundays is our worst day. Everybody call out on Sunday because they know you're not working. And then you tell us to tell you who calls out, and then you get mad at us for telling you who calls out. And then Wednesdays he don't work either, but Wednesdays aren't busy, and Wednesdays be fine. And we work Wednesdays all the way through. Wednesdays are fine. Times are good on Wednesdays. But Sundays, we tell him every single Sunday, and he scheduled every single manager on Sunday so he can yell at us for the times not being good. And he'd be like, why are there 4 managers on a shift and times are good? Because even though there's 4 managers on a shift, there's still like crossovers where there should be other workers and nobody is working because everybody either called out or you didn't schedule anybody. So we have to work 8 different positions in the store to keep the store running. And then now you're mad You're mad we call you and you tell us to call you every time? Okay. So that was red flag number one. I was like, okay. And then he has his girlfriend or wife, whatever they are. I'm gonna call her lazy because all she do is sit down. She works from 7 to 12, 5 hours every day. Not every day, 4 days out of the week. She works 5 hours, 4 days out of the week, which is insane. And she won't give anybody else, like the other manager that works in the morning asked her multiple times on multiple occasions for a break, and she's basically like, no, you can't have a break. I can stand on my feet for so and so hours, so you don't need a break. You get so and so many smoke breaks a day, you don't need a break. Okay, and how you know he don't need a break? And if you're in the store, it's just because you want to sit in the back coloring. She don't want to do anything else. We have a guy that work with us, and everybody knows he's on the spectrum. And he's a very good worker. The only thing he does is he talks a lot. And like, that's okay. And he talks a lot. That's not a problem. But they cut his hours because they didn't like him. That was weird. So then out of nowhere, he started promoting like new managers, and he started hiring people from the other store he used to work at, because before he worked at our store, he worked at the store in CF, and then obviously he took over our store. And he was taking a lot of people from CF to over here. And he was promoting a lot of new managers, like a lot of new people that was in the store. He kept saying, oh, I want to promote people inside the store. I would rather get people from inside the store than outside the store. And we was like, okay. He was like, yeah, I just want a bunch of new managers. And we was like, okay, we can help you. And he was like, yeah, who do y'all see like that y'all think can be a new manager? And like at that point in time, we didn't see anybody except maybe one person. And right now, she's still not a manager to this day. But he was like, they had one guy named me and thrown around, but no. And then they had this other girl, we're gonna call her Snitch. We're gonna call her Snitch because that's what she is. She's a snitch. And her name kept being thrown around, but the girl really did nothing. She was lazy. She didn't like to take orders. All she did was literally, if we would let her, all she would do was stand around and make drinks. And you can't do that if you want to be a manager. And she came from his old job. She came from CF. So, and Chandler was promoting her, like in his head, he was like, yeah, I think I want to promote Snitch. And I asked her, like, one-on-one conversation, I was like, yeah, so have you ever like thought about managing a store? And she was like, yeah, before I came to this store, he told me that I can become a manager, but I just have to prioritize this job over my other job, because at the time she had two jobs. She was working at the hospital, but she ended up quitting the hospital. And then she was like, yeah, but once I leave that job, I hope he makes me a manager. And then fast forward a couple of weeks, we're back in a manager meeting, and we have a new cook manager. And we was like, that's weird. Like, now that I think back how weird everything is, this is really weird, because how many people he made managers like in like 5 minutes. But we have a new cook manager, and he started coming to the manager meetings, and at this meeting Chandler was like, yeah, we're gonna have a partner. I'm sorry, I actually messed up. This was 2 weeks before our cook manager started coming to the manager meeting. Chandler was like, yeah, we're gonna have a new partner come into the store, and I'm gonna train her, and I'm gonna teach her how to own her own store, basically. So in the future, she can have her own store, and she's only gonna be here for a month. And we're like, okay, we're ready for her to come. Like, we're ready. And he was like, okay, she's gonna be here in a couple of days. And then 4 or 5 days later, and at first nobody likes her. Like, it's not that we didn't like her, it's that we didn't know her, and we had a right not to like her because of what she does. But like, she didn't really know our system, so we had to teach her how to like run our store. So we was teaching her, and then fast forward back to like when the new cook manager came in. He basically started like becoming the cook manager, and we was like, we didn't tell Chandler this, but in our heads it was like, that is so weird. Why did you promote him as a cook manager, and he's stealing from you also? Like, he's stealing from you. And I know he knows that, because you can watch your cameras and see, but no, he doesn't watch the cameras because he want to give us the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, we learned that the wrong way. Okay, now we're going to fast forward a couple of weeks, like a week or two later. The new trainee, the GM, she is like starting to work with us more. I'm starting to like her. Like, everybody's starting to like her, and we're like, yeah, she's pretty cool. Like, yeah, like we're talking about our tattoos. She's telling me about her baby daddy. She's telling me, we're just talking to each other like we're friends. Like how I talk to my other friends at work, that's how I'm talking to her. And everything is going good. Like, we're working shifts together. And then there was one shift that ruined my entire job there. Well, at least I think that's the shift. There was a Tuesday that me, my cousin, and Red worked. Snitch worked also. And there was like 2 people in the kitchen. I'm gonna put the schedule right here because I don't remember who worked. Actually, I did not put the schedule because I forgot you can see these people's real name, and I'm not dealing with that. Okay, this is me from the future. This clip didn't make any sense, so I'm doing a voiceover. So basically, Chandler told us before he left to put up a menu board. He specifically told me, Red, and Cousin to put it up, but he showed Cousin how to put it up, and he only showed my cousin how to put it up. And he never actually told me, but he told Red and Cousin to tell me to help put it up with them. And he wanted it put up before the night was over. And I was like, okay, but I don't know how to put the menus up. And he basically said he's gonna show Cousin how to put them up, because we were getting new menus. And Red, we all, like, it was like 10 o'clock, and Red got off at 10, so I don't know how he expected us to put the menus up and do our jobs. Like, we don't have to work also and run the store, because I was car hopping. Red was on drive-through. My cousin was bagging. what's her name? Snitch got off at 9 o'clock, and there was like just 2 people in the kitchen. So there was nowhere, like, we didn't have time in between there. Even though it wasn't busy, it wasn't slow enough either for us to go out there and do the menu boards. And he told us to do it either at 10 or 11. But Red got off at 10. And when she got off, she obviously forgot she had to do it. And then I was like, okay, we can do it still. And then we got like super busy between 10 or 11 o'clock. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna start the floors. We have to do the floors every night. And I'm gonna just do the floors. And then we basically was like, we're not doing them because it got busy and we don't have time to do them. And then he sent us like a whole paragraph the next morning. He put it here saying like, asking us why we didn't do it. And then I told him that we couldn't do it because we didn't have time to do it, and I wasn't staying till 12 o'clock in the morning to do it. I basically was like, even if I was gonna stay, I didn't know how to do it. The only person you showed how to do it was my cousin. And he basically was like, yeah, I'm not mad at you. I just thought my cousin show y'all how to do it. I was like, okay. I thought your cousin would show you how to do it. I was like, but it's not her fault either. So we just didn't have time to do it. And he was like, he just left it alone after that. And then the next few days were like, so that happened on Tuesday. Wednesday I worked. Everything was fine Wednesday. But he didn't work on Wednesday. And then I worked on Thursday. And I worked on Thursday. And he worked on Thursday also. And when I worked on Thursday, he basically, I came in and I started bagging. He was in the kitchen. There was one other person in the kitchen. And there was one person on drive-through, one person on... Sorry for the background for the next like 20 seconds. Car hopping. And he was like, yeah, Janae, so basically, so-and-so called out. And I was like, okay. So-and-so called out today. And I was like, okay. And he was like, yeah, he's on night shift. Well, no, he didn't say he was on night shift. He basically was like, so-and-so called out today. And I was like, okay. And I thought he was on mid shift. And I thought like 2 other people were going to come in. And then we were like doing good because he was in the kitchen. And everybody was like doing their job. And then we get a phone call. And then we get a phone call from the store's phone. And I pick it up, and the person on the phone is one of our workers' mom. And he basically is like, well, she's like, so-and-so won't be able to come in today. He's sick. And I said, that's fine. And then I was like, okay, have a nice day. And I hang up. And I was like, Chandler, so-and-so can't come in today because he's sick. And he looked at me and he was like, all you had to say is, that's fine? That's fine? I was like, what else did you want me to say? You want me to yell at his mom? And he was like, but all you had to say is, that's fine? I was like, what did you want me to say? And he storms off in the back. I was like, okay, weird. And then we all laughing up front. It was like, he like crashed out over no reason. Like, what did he expect me to say? No, your son must come in today because he's the only cook in the store. That wasn't gonna make him come in. If anything, that was gonna make him stay home more. And then I went back, and then I was like, you're gonna talk about what happened up there? And then he was like, it's not your fault, but all you had to say is, it's fine. I was like, yeah, that's all I had to say. You keep saying the same thing over and over and over. That's all I had to say. He was like, and I was like, I can work in the kitchen tonight. And then agent, the other boy who worked up in the front could also work in the kitchen because he worked in the kitchen before. So it was me and the other, I'm gonna call him Ponytail because his hair was so long it made no sense. So me and Ponytail worked in the kitchen, and I thought everything was good. And then I was like, hold up, somebody need to replace my spot. So I called Red in, and now she was like, yeah, I can work, but I have to get off at 9. I was like, okay, that's fine. So now it's Red up front, it's Thief up front, it's BB up front, I think, because she got some big boobs. And then it's Blue Eyes, because her eyes are just blue. She doesn't need another name. And then I was like, Ponytail, like, what time he get off? He say 10, but then I realized I'm going to be the only one in the kitchen after that. I know how to close the kitchen. So I tell Thief that, and she's basically like, okay, let's tell Chandler. And I was like, I really don't want to tell Chandler because he's gonna have like make this big deal about, oh, y'all should be able to do stuff on your own instead of calling me in all the time. And I'm like, and then she was like, he said to just call him if you need him. And I was like, don't he always say that? And she's like, yeah. And then basically we still end up calling him in. And then he like gets on Thief and basically like, so I told you how I would come in if you just asked like with an attitude. And then he came in, and it's like around 10 o'clock, and I'm like, so do you want me to close the kitchen with you, or do you want me to close up front? He was like, close up front. And I'm like, okay. So I close up front, and everything's fine, everything's good. Like, me and Chandler are joking, like, vibes are good. And then the next day, I don't work. It's a Friday, because that day was Thursday, now it's Friday. I get a text in the group chat with me and Ponytail and my cousin in it. I post it right here, basically saying he's watching the cameras from Tuesday night. I was like, okay, we didn't do anything. We didn't do anything we shouldn't be doing. And they were like, or that they know we shouldn't be doing. Like, you can't see anything on those cameras that they would be doing, that we would be doing, that could be caught on those cameras. Basically, it was said that he was watching the cameras, and then morning manager basically texted and was like, yeah, he's watching the cameras from the night that with you, Red, and your cousin. And I'm basically like, that's weird, like, that he's watching the cameras, because didn't he just say, like, he doesn't watch the cameras because he trusts us more than that? Like, why are you watching the cameras? And occasionally, some of the managers and some of the workers do, but it's nowhere near in front of the customers, and it's not in front of the store. So, like, there's no reason to, like, for anybody to get in trouble for that. And I guess they were looking for that. I'm not sure. But they were, like, searching the cameras hard. And it was the night that we were supposed to put the menu boards up. And I was like, okay, so am I getting in trouble? And I'm basically texting him, like, I texted him, I'm like, basically saying, oh, I can't come in Friday, because I told him that I could come in to work. I asked him if he wanted me to come in to work, like, that Thursday. He was like, yeah, you could come in from 2 to 10. And then I text him, hey, can I come into work? Oh, I can't come into work because I have to go somewhere. I'll put that there. No response. And I'm like, okay. Like, he never just not responds. He like probably take a couple hours, but he never just straight not respond at all. So I was like, okay. So Saturday, I come in and he's not there, which is also weird because he usually works Saturday. It was like, where is Chandler? And where is the trainee? Because she was also supposed to work. And morning manager, he was like, oh, they're going out to do the end of the month stuff. And I was like, okay. I was not thinking anything of it because I'm like, okay, that's what they have to do. And then we're working, and like it's a little bit of a struggle shift because we're missing 2 people off the shift. But it still goes okay. And I work from like 12 to 9. Yeah. I worked from 12 to 9. Nothing else really happened that day except I'm getting told that they're watching the cameras, which I already knew from the day before. Okay, and then Sunday comes. Sunday is when everything like breaks loose. I walk into work, I go in at 11. Chandler, like, he doesn't work and he's not there either. And it's the same person as me, morning shift manager. The other people are irrelevant really, but like, it's a busy day. And I'm talking, at one point me and morning shift manager are talking, and I'm like, what are they looking for like on the cameras? And he basically was like, I don't know. And I was like, did you see anything like that we were doing that could be deemed inappropriate? He was like, no, the only time like he deemed inappropriate is when all 3 of y'all went outside to all 3 of y'all went outside, and we went outside because there was a turtle inside beside our dumpster. I put the turtle right here because that's true. And I was like, okay, why are they checking the camera so hard? Like, what are they looking for? And this is Sunday. Oh, Thief is there also. And I'm texting Chandler basically like asking him questions. I'll put the rest of the messages up here too. I'm texting Chandler asking him questions. He's not responding. He's not responding. Then Ponytail comes, not Ponytail, I'm sorry. Red comes in, and then my cousin comes in. And I'm like, are y'all hearing from Chandler? And they're basically like, no, we're not. Like, Chandler's not responding to us. I'm like, okay. And then Thief runs around the corner and basically is like, is Chandler texting y'all? Because he's blowing up my phone. He's like blowing up my phone right now. And he's so angry because times are so bad. And again, remember what I said about Sundays in the beginning. Same Sunday. And we're like, no. And in my head, I'm like, he's not even responding to me. He's not texting them, so I don't know what's wrong. So that has nothing to do with me. The whole time it has everything to do with me, but I don't know. And then I work from 11 to like 8 that day, but I actually get off at 7. It's like 4 o'clock when Thief came around the corner and was asking us, did we get a text message? We basically was like, no. And one guy I'm gonna name him Crack, because he's always on something. I don't know what it is, but he's on something. He walked inside of the store and I think he was drunk, I'm not sure. And he was just talking out the side of his mouth the whole time. And he was basically like mumbling and stuff. And he was telling Red stuff. And he was like, yeah, they're watching you on the cameras. Just be careful. Like, do what you got to do. Just be careful. They're watching you on the cameras. And then Red texted me like something. And I was like, okay. Like, there's nothing they could see on the camera. But okay. And then I went in the back with them, and he was like, yeah, they got y'all on camera. They seen y'all do ABCD on camera. I was like, how? If they seen us do all this, somebody had to tell, but we're not really doing anything on camera. And then just be like, be careful, because they're watching y'all, and they've been watching y'all for like 3 days now. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm asking him questions like, do you think we're going to get in trouble? And in my head, I'm like, I think I'm gonna get demoted. I don't think I'm gonna get fired. I think I'm gonna get demoted though. I'm okay with that. At least I still have a job. And then I go home and I text Chandler and basically was like, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to make it to the meeting tomorrow. And I couldn't make it to the, I was going to go to the meeting, but I actually didn't want to go because I didn't want to hear like, but my cousin basically texted me and was basically like, I told Chandler that I can't work because I'm graduating Tuesday, and then I have my graduation, like my practice graduation Monday, so I can't work. And he still scheduled me, and I was like, okay, I can see if, she was like, so can you take my shift? And I was like, I'll see. And then I texted him and I was like, I can take my cousin's shift. And he did not respond to that. And I was like, why is he being so weird? So I text my cousin. I was like, I can take Cece's shift if you need me to, but let me ask Chandler to make sure. And then she texted me again, like it was like 4:30. She texted me and was like, are you gonna come in? And I was like, Chandler did not respond to me at all. And she was like, okay. She was like, just come in. And she was like, you know what, never mind, don't come in. I was like, why? And she was like, I'll put it here, because that's too much to remember. And then I was like, okay. And then out of nowhere, she like texted me and said, call me. I was like, okay. I call her, I FaceTime her. The phone hangs up. I FaceTime her again. And then she's like, just call me regularly because I can't answer the FaceTime because like the service where we work at is terrible. So I call her regular, and then she's like, so basically I just got fired and you and Ponytail might be next. I was like, what? You just got fired? Now I'm panicking. I said, fired for what? And she basically said, drugs and alcohol. I'm like, what? I was frozen. I said Ponytail, I meant Red. We add Red to the call. And we basically told her that she might get fired. And I'm over here about to cry. I'm like, I'm about to call Chandler to see if I'm fired. And I was like, how did he fire you? And she was like, I got in the store and he walked me out the store and sat me down and told me I was fired. And I was like, what? He waited until you got all the way in the store to fire you? So I called him, and the first time I called him, he didn't answer. I'm like, okay. He's probably busy, because he did tell me the reason why he didn't want the manager meeting. And then I see that he called me back, but my phone's on D&D, so I call him back. And I'm like, Chandler, so am I fired? And he was like, I wanted to give you more respect to fire you in person rather than over the phone. And I'm basically like, how is firing me in person more respectful than firing me over the phone? And then he's basically like, but multiple people have came to me and told me that you've been smoking weed. I was like, what? I don't smoke weed. And I'm like, I don't do drugs. I didn't say that, but like, everybody know I don't do drugs. I don't smoke weed at all. What in the world? He was like, yeah, 5 people been telling me, 5 people from night shift are telling me that you like smoke weed. And then he was like, you must have. I literally said her name like 4 times in the span of 3 seconds. Basically, I was just saying that, yeah, I talked to a cousin. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I don't do drugs, so what is this? And then I was like, oh, okay, I hang up on him. Hang up on you, not in the mood. Now I'm crying. I'm upset. I just lost my job for something I don't do. And then I called cousin. I'm like, cousin. I got fired. And then I go inside my mom's room. I'm like, Mom, I got fired. I tell my girl, I say, Grandma, I got fired. And they say, okay. I was like, I gotta get another job by yesterday because I need to pay for tuition. And I need a job. So then I called cousin back and then Red back, and I basically tell them what happened. She was like, oh, I'm so scared. And it was like, just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. We was like, call him. She was like, okay. She hangs up. Beep, 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 beep. Now, I said her name. I believe that. We was like, she was like, okay, I'll call him. And then me and my cousin just talking. And I was like, so does that mean the other managers that smoke weed fired? The people that shoot up behind the dumpsters fired? The people that do crack in the bathroom, are they fired? The people that come into work drunk every day, are they fired? Or is it just us? So we call one of the other managers from Money Shift. We're basically like, so me, Red, and cousin just got fired. He's like, what? You're fired? Like, what happened? And we tell him everything. He's basically scared, like, oh, is he next? And we like, we don't know who's getting fired, like who's on the list. And then we add Ponytail to the call because now I'm calling everybody. I'm calling and I'm texting everybody because y'all not about to have a store. Like, I'm telling everybody that y'all fired us and hoping, praying that they leave y'all. And then I call like a bunch of people. I text a bunch of people to tell them that we're fired. Now we're adding CC to the call, and there's like 6 people on the call right now. We're basically like, yeah, me, cousin, and Ray got fired, and this is why we got fired. And they basically was like, I got fired for no reason because everybody know I don't smoke weed. So, and then we found out that crack is gonna be undercover. We found out that undercover, because that's what he is, an undercover spy. Undercover was like going around like spying on everybody, and then he was spying on one of the managers on morning shift and watching him for 3 days to see what he was doing, see if he was like doing anything, and then like he had no business doing. And then he was like, the morning shift manager was like, okay, I'm at the call to see if I'm fired. I'm scared. This is the only job I have. We was like, okay, like go ahead. In our head that we're thinking he's fired also. And like he's a good worker and everything, but like there's some other people in there that did the same thing as the people who did got fired that's still working there, which is weird. So we're still on the deceased people call. We're basically waiting for the morning manager to call us back and tell us what happened. And then my cousin was like, I'm about to text them to see what happened. Like 10 minutes passed, and then she was like, call us back. So we add the morning shift manager back on the call. But he basically was like, yeah, I'm not fired. he basically said it happened on night shift, whatever it was. Like 5 people was complaining about y'all three, and it didn't happen like with me. It only happened on night shift. And I was like, that is so weird. Like, who is talking, like, making up lies about us and making it seem like we're doing stuff that we aren't doing. Again, I don't smoke weed, and when people who do smoke weed they're not smoking it in front of anybody. You don't even know where they are when they smoke it. So that's another lie. And then I'm thinking back, I'm like putting 3 and 6 together to get 52, and I'm like, okay, so snitch, she just got promoted as a manager. No, she didn't get promoted as a manager yet, but she's on the way to get promoted as a manager. But the faster she can get somebody out of her way, the faster she can become a manager. Oh, so what she did, she makes up lies to get her a position. And then let's go back to Miss Trainee. So Chandler basically was like, this was her. I was saying, let's jump back to Miss Trainee. So Chandler basically was like to one of the other managers, I wish I could keep Trainee, but she's too expensive. And the only way I could keep her is if I fire a bunch of people. And then you magically fire 3 managers? Insane. And then, so now that we're on Trainee still, so Trainees tried to get with our kitchen manager, and our kitchen manager did not like want her at all because ew. And then it was like, I didn't want her. Like, he basically was like, told the whole story that he didn't want her, and how she came on to him. And I just found that out actually, and I was like, weird. And then now we found out that she's thinking about going to HR and filing a sexual harassment case against him. And we basically told him to quit before he's fired also, because it seemed like they want to fire everybody from the store that has any history with the Conway version of the store.